Okay, my name's Zakashi guys, and in this video here we are going to be talking about hype releases and good releases. Now this is a discussion I've been wanting to have for a long time, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this video for sure. But let me list some points that I want to emphasize before I get anywhere into this video. So for one, if there's a hype release, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. The devs will sometimes release things with the intention of just baiting you to spend your chrono crystals, even if the unit's kit is good or bad. A hype release can have a good kit, it can have a bad kit. It's really about what the unit is rather than what they do or how they compete in the game. On the other hand, a good release is most likely going to be beneficial for the game's health. There are some units that are just too good to the point where they break the game, and if you're not using that unit, you can't get anywhere in PvP, which makes the game no longer fun. There's been a lot of cases like that in Dragon Ball Legends history throughout the 6 years of the game, where there are units that have released that have completely shattered the gaming experience for a lot of players. Just to mention some in the history, we've got the tag droids, we've got Blue Beast Gohan, we've got Vegito Blue, the Legends Limited, we've got Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, the Legends Limited once he's Zenkai'd, and we also got Namek Goku. Just some to name off my hand. Those 5 there have shattered a lot of players' experience to the point where they literally quit the game. In most cases, it's a lot more apparent that a unit is a good release if it's not a hype release, and I'll be discussing units that I think are strictly hype releases, or at least more so leaning in that direction, versus units that were more so good releases. But like I said at the start just now, just because a unit is a hype release, it doesn't mean it's also not a good release. It can be both. They don't have a direct correlation to each other. That's all I've got to say for this intro. Let's get into this. Okay, so for this video, I'm going to start with 7 good releases, then I'm going to go through 7 hype releases. Just bear in mind, like I said at the start of the video, just because something is a good release doesn't mean it can't also be a hype release. I just think it's more so leaning to the good release segment of the video. And in the same way, if it's a hype release, it could have been also good, but some cases they're clearly baiting just for the hype purpose. So yeah, in this case, we're going to start with Omega Shenron being a good release. I think he is a amazing release. The only thing bad about him is the timing of his drop. He dropped directly after an ultra, which would push a lot of people not to summon on him simply because they don't have the chrono crystals, and the ultra banner is still there while the part 2 banners are also still there. So for Omega Shenron, I think a lot of people weren't going for him simply because they were still summoning on Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and the idea that he's green immediately turned people off. But this guy here dropping with Indestructible is a very, very good force. He also works with Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. He adds to the GT aspect while bringing up a lot of other teams. For example, he fits on Regeneration and Powerful Opponents. These 2 teams are on the big come up. Powerful Opponents been getting juiced behind the scenes consistently throughout this whole year. They've been getting Zenkai's, all sorts of units just hiding in between. They did get Legend Limiteds as well, but like, they don't headline. It doesn't seem like they're at the source of people's attention, but they are getting buffs like in the shadows, like it's Gotham or something. But Omega Shenron, people slept on him immediately because it's after the ultra. It's like, what the hell's going on? And on top of that, he's green, so he's literally disadvantaged to the most strong unit in the game. If not him, Ultimate Gohan, who's literally the strongest unit of part 2, and he's top 5 in the game. This guy here should have been getting squashed, but he literally beat the odds, and I think that's also contributed to the fact that he released with Rage Shenron, who's yellow, protecting the greens from the purples. Rage Shenron is a good combo breaker, but this guy's Indestructible also does him a lot of justice. He has some good animations as well, so in terms of hype, he didn't really reach people's expectations. I definitely feel that's the case, but in terms of value and what he's added to the game, he's acted that survivability factor, so I think we should put some respect on his name. Omega Shenron is a very good choice, especially with the GT theme in 2024. Now, this video wouldn't be fun without some hot takes. We gotta have a hot take here. Now, I'm going to say Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is a very good release. Now, it goes without saying this guy is probably the hypest release ever, but I think he done more justice for the game than negative. We already know that the Ultra is going to be something abnormally hype. It's going to come out no matter what, but I think what they dropped with G4 did good. Now, the reason I think he was a good choice, a very good choice, because on his release, he practically reset the meta. Fusion Warriors is always a team that gets 1 or 2 releases every single year, and they're guaranteed to be the most overpowered thing. It's going to be a top 3 unit every single time, even top 2, and probably not 2. So this is something you should expect. But with G4, I think they really hit the mark because he doesn't have the best defenses. So the idea is to build him defensively or somewhat to the point where he can tank, and that's shown by the point they drop that equipment that has defenses if you're running G4. You don't have to run it with him, but the idea is this guy takes damage, he takes enough damage to where his gauge fills, and then when his gauge fills, he heals, and then his counter goes off, and that can happen 3 times in a battle, right? If he doesn't heal, or if he dies before his counter can go off, it's done. It's done. And because he doesn't have the best defenses, obviously on the boost on his release he's going to be good, but I think on the release of him coming out, everybody was running him, and for his purpose of being the hypest thing, the Anniversary Ultra, I think he serves as a good release. It makes everybody want to play the game. His animations are amazing. Overall, everybody was enjoying him. He was amazing, but the game already has a lot of overpowered units to the point where he wasn't a must run. Yes, he is one-shotting people, but let's not act like Ultimate Gohan, it wasn't right there cancelling buffs. There was options to be run alongside if you didn't want to run G4. So I think for his timing, for who he is, for the hype, he was good enough to be the best unit in the game, which is a standard. But he wasn't suffocating people to the point where if you're not running him, the game's unplayable, and I think that's where I give him a more good release, given that he was always going to be a hype release. Let me know what you guys think about my points regarding that. No matter what, G4 is going to be a hype release, but for the service for the purpose he served, I think he did a very good job. Animations wise, kit wise, not too OP, especially because he's not good defensively, he can get melted. But offensively, he's meeting the requirements. He's going to get power crept eventually, but it's enough for him to be somewhat surviving because of his counter. This one's a hot take though, I did it intentionally. Let me know what you guys think. Next up, we got fusing Gogeta Blue. This one is a very, very good release, and I think it's low-key to his benefit that he's flawed. And every time I say he's flawed, I'm always referring to the fact that he only gets cover null on his Strike Assault, and his Strike Assault can't chain with green cards. It's very inconvenient because you can easily get cover changed, right? Now, Fusing Gogeta Blue is the only unit that can just bypass gauges that literally stop combos. He doesn't give a damn about them. He's going to keep doing his Strike Assault glide, and it's beautiful. The animation probably one of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. In my opinion, I think that simple strike when he's doing that thing, the Strike Assault, it's so beautiful to look at. But this guy here, his purpose is to counter gauges, and I think that's going to make him a timeless unit somewhat. Of course, his damage will fall off, and I think when his damage falls off, it won't matter that his Strike Assault exists. But because of his Strike Assault, he's going to have somewhat value, especially every single time a purple comes out. This guy will come out the woodworks, increasing in value. Right now, we've got 2 purples in the game. We've got Ultimate Gohan and we've got G4. If you want to put Golden Frieza in that conversation, you can as well. Ultimate Gohan is being ran consistently, and G4 for obvious reasons because of his counter. This guy is the perfect counter for G4 because G4 doesn't have the best defenses like I've said, but his Strike Assault allows him to bypass the counter in the scenario G4, which he probably always will be able to fill his gauge so his untouchable counter doesn't activate. Gogeta Blue being that one unit that can always counter, and I think nobody should get his mechanic. If somebody does, he literally loses value, but of course, he is a literal kryptonite against any purple unit. So I think that's what's going to have him have life in the game. As long as they keep dropping purples that have decent mechanics, this guy will come out the woodworks as being highly valuable, which is obviously going to be good for the game. He's not too broken to the point where the Strike Assault, and he has so many much more things onto him that make him, wow, this guy's a hassle to deal with. But he is quite tanky. He does have the resistance. He does have AoE blocks, which is super good. His green card increases timer counts, I believe. He obviously has the what you call it? Did I say that the vanishing? Damn, I can't speak. The Vanish Restoration. That's what he has on the main ability, which allows him to be a good last stand unit. So he's not bad at all, but he could have been a lot better, which we all know. But I think that's kind of keeping him in check to the point where he's a non-toxic unit in the meta that serves a very good purpose and can get you over a lot of the big powerhouses in the game. Next up, we got Nappa and Vegeta. And I think Nappa and Vegeta was a very good release. I think in addition to the fact that they dropped Ultra Golden Frieza, this unit was a perfect release. With a revival mechanic coming above with these guys, it gives Frieza Force that additional layer of protection that they maybe didn't need, but they got it. Now, this also is a buff for Vegeta clan and also powerful opponent. I think if powerful opponent can get any buff, it's always going to be super good, and it's making that team somewhat stay relevant, even though they might not be as hype. Now, I think a lot of people in general don't cater towards Saiyan Saga units, because most people, I think that a large majority of the player base obviously sees the Dragon Ball Super stuff as more hype, or at least the Z end moments, or I know this is Z, but like I'm talking like, for example, Vegito being an amazing finisher, for example, or Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to see Nappa and Vegeta as something that's really, really hype. But the purpose they serve in the game, in the meta, especially when they released, they did a good job of keeping the balance. So you still have to break through that revival layer when you're fighting a Frieza Force team. And I think they served their purpose in doing that. They weren't too over the top in terms of damage. They were doing good. They were doing good with tanking, and they had a good team because of their element. They're able to get Zenkai buffs. So they served good purpose for what they were here for. They didn't do too much, but a lot of people overlooked them for one big reason is that we were heading into the anniversary. This was a pre-anniversary release. So I think anything that releases between the months of, let's say, strictly anniversary starts in May, anything from like April behind, from January, April, anything that drops between those times, people are very hesitant on spending, especially as we get closer to May, because you want to have good Chrono Crystals for whatever drops on the anniversary. But this was a good release in terms of the people that wanted to build Frieza Force team, powerful opponent team, running with any Lineage of Evil team, depending on if you lead a slot or whatnot. It works well in tandem. So I gotta give it to them. I think a lot of people just blatantly agree with this. Now, this one here might appear like a hot take on the surface, but you gotta let me land. Once you let me land, I think you will agree with me. Ultra Golden Frieza was a good release because Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan existed. He's going to exist. This guy here was kind of a random drop. Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan was also a random drop, but they kind of dropped Cell Saga, so I'm gonna just push that to the side, you know. But this guy here, he literally just dropped on his arm as like a powerful opponent. He's just a powerful opponent, and he's cooking. He's obviously on Frieza Force and whatnot, Lineage of Evil, so he does serve a lot of value in regards to the teams he fits on. But I think in terms of countering or being a force that could go against the other Ultra, which was Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, he fit a good purpose, especially coming with his comeback mechanic, which is not revival. So any unit that has something in their kit that goes against revival or benefits from taking out a revival unit, Frieza doesn't fall under that umbrella. He punishes you for punishing him, and he benefits from it greatly, which is insane. This guy here, his green card is absurd. The trifecta, I like to call it, but it's more than that. He gets key, cover null, cards, which is insane. You know, just allows him to continually combo, which is just excessive. I don't really have much more to say about this. Like, it's a powerful opponent drop. They've been juicing powerful opponent the whole year, but they haven't hit spotlights as much as obviously the Saiyans and whatnot. But let's not act like they haven't been releasing them for good intention to balance out the game. Golden Frieza, people might see him as the most toxic thing, especially for the time, but I genuinely think he's a very good drop, specifically because he was working against Gohan, who Gohan is a very, very, very huge rat. So yeah, you might disagree with this one, but I think he was a good release. He is also a hype release. People love Frieza. People love Frieza. I hate Frieza, but people love Frieza. But I think for the purpose he served, he was a very good choice, especially with his element. If he was a different element, I might have a completely different argument. But in this universe, he's purple, so we're going to talk about him like that. Good release, man, in my opinion. One of my favorite units to talk about, who I don't even have, Super Gauge 2, Gauge Oraga, the genius of adaptation. Once his gauge fills, he is going to cause you a world of problems. This guy here was an amazing investment to make if you did summon on him on release. I advise for people to not to, because we were heading into the anniversary, but he is a very good release. I just feel like his timing could have been a little bit earlier so people could see how valuable he was. Now, I didn't think he was a trash unit ever, but I feel like for the service the purpose he served at the time he served it, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But him himself is amazing. He is a good unit. This guy here works basically on his gauge. Everything works around his gauge. But in addition to that, he's super anti-Saiyan. And you know, this whole year they've been dropping Saiyan powerful opponent, Saiyan powerful opponent, Saiyan powerful opponent, somewhat like that. He gives anti-Saiyan to his team as well, so his team is also able to do more damage to Saiyans. This guy is a super good unit to have. He fits with the GT agenda. He also fits with the powerful opponent agenda. He's also a Saiyan himself, which is also just greedy. He has like every tag, similar to like Corrupted Zamasu. I've glazed him in a different video. Saiyan, regeneration, powerful opponent, GT, and I think I'm missing one. No, I think that's it. But yeah, that's like an insane fest of different tags, you know. His element choice is also super good. He's yellow, so going forward, you wouldn't have known, but obviously G4, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta for the anniversary being purple, this guy's a super good combo stopper. It's like they obviously, people think, oh, if you drop before the unit, you're not made to counter a unit in the future, but the devs create the unit, so they release them with the intention knowing that, alright, this unit here is yellow, he's going to be good for something in the future. This guy's an amazing combo stopper, but he also works well with that unit. They've done really well with releasing things this year. I think this is an amazing good release that they decided to drop. He serves good purpose, breaks combos. He can also do insane output damage. Do not sleep on him because he is a melee type. Do not sleep on him in regards to that. If his gauge fills and he ultimates you, you're locked. You're locked. Green card counter. Boy, Super Gauge 2 Genius of Adaptation. Do not let his gauge fill because he's not going to let you play. He is not going to let you play. I think this was one of the best releases. I'm going to put this guy, Super Baby 2, if you saw his value from the jump or you decided to invest in him from the jump simply because I already know I pushed for it, and a lot of people would make the decision to not have summoned on him on release simply because we're going towards the anniversary. Really and truly, are you taking this guy over fusing Super Vegito, for example? Probably not in terms of value. That's blatant. But what he can do on your team as a protective layer while also outputting damage is super good. So if you did invest in him, he's a very good stock and he has high value at this point. The last good release for this video is Bomku. A lot of people slept on this guy. Well, have started sleeping on this guy. When he released, people saw him as the new gen MVP 17. Now, would I say he's reached that ceiling of MVP 17? Definitely not. But you also have to consider that the overall game has improved in quality. I think MVP 17 was ahead of his time, where the rest of the game wasn't on his level. If we consider the overall average value of all the 2023 units in comparison to MVP 17, it's no shock that MVP 17 was able to survive the whole year. But in terms of what Bomb Crew has had to go up against, I think he's had a genuine harder time while also being somewhat valuable. If you build this guy with the intention of HP, health restoration, and defenses, you will not be disappointed that this guy here is tanking way more than MVP 17 in 2023, on top of the fact that he is a good asset in terms of an offensive trait. So I think for him, when the enemy has one unit left, he's able to remove their advantage instantly with the main ability. I think that's a big plus in comparison to MVP just having, you know, the supportive type of layer where he can do some offensive damage, but I think his main role was basically adding the attributes to protect his team, endurance, buff cancellation. This guy also has the buff cancellations, but I don't think he cancels buffs against blue cards, which is a downside. But I think this guy has more offensive prowess against MVP 17. So I think for what he's gone up against, he was a very good release. If you build him with the intention of defenses, health restoration, and HP, he's going to serve you a lot of purpose on the team. I've been using him recently, and boy, can he take a hit. I respect him so much. But obviously, comparing him for the time, you have to make a fair comparison. I think, I'm not going to say he's better than MVP 17, but for what he's had to go up against, I think he survived very well. He's still doing good if you want to run him. You obviously just need decent stars on him, and that will serve, that will be good. We also have to consider that in the 5th anniversary, they dropped Gold Freezer, which was just like the best unit they could have dropped, which makes MVP 17's job even easier. But I think for the anniversary, they didn't drop anything besides G4 to really help this guy. They did drop all those Legends Limiteds, but remember, when you're saving towards the anniversary, a lot of people are prone to skip. So yeah, I'm gonna put Bonku here as a good release. I love this guy. Obviously, he has his flaws. Like, oh my god, I'm too young to get key on entry. He should really get, like, how, bro? How, bro? How is he not, bro? How is he not? But outside of that, he valid for real if you build him with the intent that I mentioned. Now we gotta get to the hype releases. I feel like this is going to be a lot easier to explain. The good releases, you gotta justify them somewhat, but the hype releases is just blatant. You know, whenever the devs release a Gohan, they have one sole thing in mind. Hybrid Saiyans is going to come insane again, and Gohan's just going to be Gohan Ball Legends. They always make Gohans unnecessarily broken, especially if they drop during a celebration. What the hell is this unit? What the hell is this unit? Why would you drop a unit that has endurance but also cancels buffs from everything? Blue cards, ultimates, awakened, rising rushes. That's excessive. That's super excessive, man. For one, he doesn't even have the greatest animations, so they just slapped him everything, taking away your vanish off main ability, unlimited blue card. He might as well have an LMG that just shoots blue cards, LMG being a light machine gun. This guy is absolutely absurd for no reason. It's literally just to push the Gohan Ball Legends agenda. I don't feel like there was any need to release this Hybrid Saiyan Son family guy. He needs to be stopped. For no reason, they always just pull out a Gohan out their arse and say, yep, we're gonna make the game trouble to play, and they succeed every single time. They've done that with Ultimate Gohan. It is what it is, but unfortunately this guy is a purely hype release with the intent of sucking people in for summoning, because he's Ultimate Gohan. He's Gohan. It's always Gohans, man, always. Now, I hate to put Super Saiyan God Goku in this category, but this guy is absolutely trash. Doo-doo shirt and gray pants. He has no badges, no attributes. This guy here sucks. And because he sucks, all he is a hype unit. He wasn't even that hype for a lot of people. There's like a split in the community, I think. Half people in the community think, oh, this guy's super hype, he's going to be the best. People saying he's going to be a headliner. He's not a headliner, by the way. To be a headliner, you need to be a part 1 unit. He is a part 2 unit. So they're just dropping him for basically fan service. He's literally fan service. Ass kit. The kit can be useful, but I got an ass kit in terms of not being top 10 standard. Barely top 10 on release anyways. But his animations though, oh my god, he's a purely hype release, and that disappoints me, man. His animations are so beautiful when he's flying up. Yo, you know what, they could have done him even better. That's what's crazy. But for what he is, he's super beautiful, but his kit serves no purpose, especially with the addition of having 2 insane purples. They went overboard with Ultimate Gohan, and then to drop G4 right after, right, yeah, you really wanted this guy to survive, man. They just didn't. They just didn't. So, pure hype. He has nothing else to serve but hype. If you like him, you're going to go for him. He's going to be somewhat usable, but really and truly, this guy's not cooking. And they even tried to drop some extra equips to try and distract us from the fact that they dropped an ass kit on God Goku. Like, come on, bruh. Lock in, man. Lock in, man. Pure hype right here. Fusing Super Vegito. Now, guys might not think this is a hype release. As in, it's more good release because it's a Vegito. They should drop a Vegito. Everybody was anticipating a Super Vegito for the anniversary. It was speculation for the past 6 months, right? But the reason he's a pure hype release is because they also dropped Gogeta Blue alongside from him. Then on top of that, they just gave this guy a Rising Rush guaranteed win mechanic for no reason. He didn't need that. He actually didn't need that. I think that was super over the top, and it's going to be super timeless. It's excessive. It makes this guy one of the best units of all time. Really and truly, it does. He's absolutely absurd. How can you Rising Rush, a Rising Rush that's never going to get taken out of the game because it's an in-game mechanic that is fixed. It's been here for 6 years. And he wins every single time? We're going to be in the 12th year anniversary, this guy's still rushing people and winning. God damn, they're not Zenkaiing this guy ever. Why would they? This guy here is absolutely just hype for no reason. For no reason. He's less good than he is hype, especially in the 6th anniversary where we have Gogeta Blue alongside. He was not necessary, in my opinion, if they were going to drop a Gogeta Blue on top. Dropping 2 Fusion Warriors in one part is absolutely absurd. This has never been done before in Dragon Ball Legends. Why would they go ahead and do that? Why? And then just give him the rush mechanic? Pure hype, man. They were just trying to make him the most disgusting thing. They were like, how can we make Vegito Ball Legends again? They were really thinking. They dropped UVB last year, the most menacing kit that we've seen probably for that time for a solo unit. They've dropped Blue Vegito Blue. G4 is like 3rd anniversary G4 is he's whatever. Ultra Super Vegito exists. 1st anniversary Super Vegito, UGB. You know, there's so many units in history without Fusion Warriors that are just like, damn. And they're like, how can we make this Vegito even more cracked? And they just decided, you know what? Let's just make him win Rising Rushes. The glaze on this unit is phenomenal because you can't get better glaze than that. Krispy Kreme can't glaze better than the way the devs did this guy. For no reason, they just slapped them a Rising Rush. Pure hype release, man. They could have just kept Gogeta Blue and it would have been enough, you know. But then, Yeah, man, you got it. You got it, devs. This guy here is in the same boat as Super Saiyan God Goku, but worse. And I say worse because his animations aren't even that good. They're not. They literally just wanted to stroke off the Vegeta fans. They wanted to just give the Vegeta fans some food. It's like they've been starving for the past 10 months or something, and they were like, you know what? Let's pick up that unit and only just give him the bread crust and just give the Vegeta clan guys something to eat. Bro, this guy here, Super Vegeta, could have been so phenomenal, man. He's actually such a dope character, especially the way he charges up his final flash. But the animations are like okay. They hyped it up in the reveal for sure, and the Vegeta clan fans were going crazy just for him to be below mid. At least Super Saiyan God Goku got good animations and he's somewhat usable by preference. This guy here was just appalling. They gave him an equipment and I believe they gave him a Zenkai. Did they Zenkai 8 Vegeta if I'm not mistaken? But boy, maybe that happened earlier. My memory might be bad. But boy, this guy was a stinker, man. They did not make him good at all. He served no purpose in the meta. He didn't attribute to anything. He's just a hype release doing fan service for the Vegeta clan fans. And that's sad. That's honestly sad because now they've actually created a Legend Limited Super Vegeta. They're not just going to redo a Legend Limited Super Vegeta. You're not going to get a Legend Limited Super Vegeta again for like 6 years. You know, we're not getting one for a while. You're not. They've already Zenkai the yellow Super Vegeta. So your dreams are crushed. Your final flash not happening. They're not dropping an ultra final flash as well. You know? Pure hype here, trying to hype up the Vegeta clan fans, thinking, yes, finally. Toshi said the same thing about him as he said about Super Saiyan God Goku, I think, as well. He's talking about we've been listening, and finally they dropped Super Vegeta. We've been listening, and finally they dropped Super Saiyan God Goku. And it just wasn't up to par in the game, and that's sad. That's honestly sad, man. They were just trying to feed the fan base for real. With with breadcrumbs. Right hand here, another hype release that was a bit excessive. Now you could say this guy's a good release, but you know he's over the top. Let's be honest, we all know he's an over the top unit, especially for the time he released. I remember people thinking, no way they're gonna drop an ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan in like April, like right before the anniversary. No way they're gonna do that. Like, there's no way, right? There's no way they're gonna drop an ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan right before the anniversary, right? There's no way. And guess what? They did. They just went ahead and done it. It was like too far for Ronaldo to think about it, and he just took the shot. They just took the shot. They didn't care. And it's like, bro, this cannot be good for the game. In no regard can you see this as good for the game, especially with everything that he has. His element choice, it's like, cool, whatever. But it doesn't even matter because he has a blue card counter, he has a counter gauge, he has an explosive green, he has endurance. How greedy, man. And then on top of that, obviously he can't help it, but he's Son family and he's Hybrid Saiyans, which is one of the most dominant teams in the game. Let's not act like Beast Gohan wasn't still insane. It was like, bro, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot here with this release. More hype than good for sure. I think nobody's gonna disagree with this. Boy, this one is this one was nasty. This one's actually nasty. Now, I've only got 2 more that I'm gonna go over real quick, but Ultra UI Goku, I think he was a super hype release and didn't need to drop. Now, this might be a hot take because I know a lot of people like this guy, but this guy's kit is absolutely insane. But what I don't like about him is that he made Evo Ken serve no purpose. People literally stopped using Evo Ken and Universe Rep as a whole because Son family became so dominant with this release. They didn't need to drop 3, no, they dropped what, 4 Son family units. The whole festival last year was Son family. They dropped Evo Ken, which is Son family. They dropped Beast Gohan, which is Son family. They dropped Bardock and Goku, which is Son family. Then they dropped this guy. With Universe Rep being so dominant, this guy's also Universe Rep. So if you're going to run this guy, you don't need to run Evo Ken. They didn't mesh well together because this guy here is going to be dodging, but his defenses aren't the greatest, while Evo Ken is meant to be doing the main damage when he's doing his 99 combos. But there's no need for 99 combos when this guy can do all of that in an Ultimate Arts and lock in and do all the work easier, and also dodge while taking no damage because he's absolutely just insane. So really and truly, he's just a more hype release than useful for at least Universe Rep. And Son family, trust me, they were so good eating, they did not need this guy's release. His element also didn't help as well because, boy, having him yellow I think only Beast was going up against him, but because he can dodge, it doesn't even matter what element he is. So he's really just a kryptonite to like the likes of Gold Frieza and stuff like that. Real problem here. Real just hype. I'm not saying it was a bad option to release him though. I just think it catered more to the hype than anything else with this release. I think that's kind of blatant. I am saying his kit was amazing. I am saying that he did serve good purpose in terms of reveals and stuff, being the ultra that we need him to be. Ultras are meant to be super overpowered, but boy, the timing, in addition to how Son family was already flourishing and then just making Evo Ken basically useless, is sad. He didn't even get a month. They didn't get a month, sorry, because it's Goku and Vegeta. That's sad. UI Goku, man, definitely a hype release. I think this is not going to be something that people disagree with as well. It's quite sad, man. I said that so many times, but it's actually upsetting that Evo Ken didn't shine for long. The last one for the video is going to be Ultimate / Beast Gohan. Now, I'm labeling this more of a hype release because we already got a Beast Gohan. We had the blue Beast Gohan. So they really just dropped this guy for the transformation and to polish his animations. They didn't need to. They really didn't need to. But the reason I think this guy is excessive and just a super hype release, his kit's obviously good, but I think he did more bad than good, is because we were waiting the whole festival, for Evo Ken. Everybody was predicting Evo Ken. Nobody was predicting Beast against, like, except that one guy on Twitter that I remember. And when Beast showed up after Evo Ken, bro, everybody was feeling like, you know, the Toy Story, everyone's like, this is Evo Ken, I don't really want to play with you anymore. And they just dropped him. They just dropped him just like that. Nobody even cared anymore. And it was like, bro, if you're going to drop Beast, at least show him first. So then knowing that Evo Ken is not as hype. This is a superhero movie unit. He's a movie character. Come on, devs. You should have showed Beast first, but they did it on purpose. They wanted to overshadow Evo Ken, have this guy be better than Evo Ken. And for the Evo Ken culpers, I've dropped the video on why Evo Ken's downfall happened. Beast does everything Evo Ken can do in 2 cards, whereas Evo Ken's taking a 99 combo. Why would you choose Evo Ken over Beast? It just doesn't make sense. This guy's hype factor on top of that is just pulling all the holes. Evo Ken don't have that pull. I'm sorry. They even got beat up by Jiren. What? They just had to fake their animations for the dub. Jiren beat the hell out of them. It's so sad, man. The dev decision making sometimes is like, they're trolling. They have to be trolling. They have to be in on the joke. They see all the jokes on Twitter, man. But yeah, Beast was insane. Shout out Beast Gohan for being the OP unit that he was. But the devs knew what they were doing, dropping this guy after Evo Ken, right after, overshadowing him in every regard. The cope was there at the start saying Evo Ken was better than Beast, but those guys were on drugs. Anybody that believed that. But yeah, man, this is the last hype release for this video. But yeah, man, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I think I did a good job distinguishing what a good release is and a hype release, or what caters to one more than the other. Some of these might be disagreeable, so of course in the comment section please leave your own opinion on things that you might have agreed with or disagreed with, or if there's any units in history that you feel are clearly just a hype release or a good release that didn't get enough credit, because good releases really get swept under the rug, especially when they serve a good purpose, because people don't want to go towards them because there's less hype. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press that subscribe button. We're on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.